Hello everyone and welcome! It's another exciting episode on this channel where you get to learn how to play a variety of instruments. Today you get to learn one of the musical instruments with little or no stress. We will be discussing how to play an ancient musical instrument that still has relevance in modern music. The violin. Are you picking up the violin for the first time, or have you been trying to learn for a while? Maybe you even play the violin, but you don't have the proper understanding of how to strike those notes. Welcome to the right place. Follow closely as we walk through this tested and trusted method of playing the violin. The violin is a portable musical instrument, so moving it around comes with ease. Its expressive qualities make it unique in a way similar to a fiddle and a cello. The major differences between a violin and a fiddle is the style of music they are played with. The violin works perfectly with classical, pop, jazz rock, and a lot more, while a fiddle applies to country music, Appalachian, bluegrass, and a lot more. A cello, on the other hand, is a larger type of violin. Choosing the right violin is important in easing the learning process. A full-size violin typically is recommended for an adult. In contrast, children don't feel comfortable with a violin of this size. Therefore, smaller sizes are recommended for young players. The violin should be well set up, with the bridge and strings properly aligned. Also ensure the hair on your bow has the right contour, not too tensed or too loose. Subsequently, we will be making references to various parts of the violin. To avoid any confusion with the different parts of the violin, let's identify and name them. The violin consists of two main components, the bow and the violin itself. The chamber-like part is called the body. Extending from the body, we have the neck, where the strings run up to the scroll. The scroll is the coiled end at the top of the violin. Also, the pegs, located just below the scroll, are used for tuning the strings, and the fine tuners on the tailpiece allow for precise tuning adjustments. The strings pass over the fretboard located on the neck and are anchored at the tailpiece on the body. The strings are supported by the bridge, a small wooden piece that transmits their vibrations to the body. The F-holes on the body allow sound to project from the instrument, and the chin rest provides a place for the player to rest their chin. The bow has a section known as the hair, made from horsetail hair. There is also a hand grip for holding the bow and a part called the frog, which is the base of the bow. Just below the frog is the screw, which can be used to adjust the tension in the hair. To play the violin, some basic musical knowledge is needed. Nothing complicated here, just the basic stuff, like understanding what a key, chord, note, and scale are. A key is a system of functionally related chords. They are the patterns you follow when playing any musical instrument. There are 12 keys in music, each consisting of different notes and scales, 7 major keys and 5 minor keys. The violin is particularly designed to play the keys of G, D, A, and E major, and their relative minors, E minor, B minor, F sharp minor, and C sharp minor. Before we can start making music, it is important to confirm if the violin is tuned. If your violin is not, you will be producing distorted notes that won't follow the musical standard. To tune the violin, all you need is a violin tuner or a tuning app on your mobile phone to get your strings in tune. The strings are tuned to the notes G, D, A, and E from lowest to highest pitch. These are the open strings. We will talk about that later. The way you place the violin and the way you handle the bow are equally important. As much as the chin rest is very important, one can decide to play without the chin rest. It is, however, advisable to get a chin rest as it helps reduce the stress on the neck. You want to feel comfortable when playing. That's important. If you have a chin rest, place the violin on your left shoulder with the chin rest under your jaw. Your left hand should support the neck of the violin with your thumb resting against the side of the neck and your fingers curved over the fingerboard. Hold the bow in your right hand, with each finger playing a specific role. The thumb is bent and placed on the stick between the frog and the leather, without locking. The middle fingers, including the ring finger, wrap around the frog opposite the thumb. The index finger rests on its side between the middle joints, leveraging the bow's weight without hooking around the stick. The curved pinky tip is placed just below the frog, managing the bow's weight when lifting off the string. With your thumb bent and fingers naturally curved over the stick, you should feel the violin's weight at every point. Now that the violin is in tune and you understand the proper handling technique, let's learn how to play the open strings. First, there are 4 open strings on the violin. Open strings are played without pressing any string to the fretboard. These are the major keys that were mentioned earlier. So, if you bow up or down the first string, you will have played the G note. The second string is the D major note, followed by the A string, and then the E major note is what you have on the last string. Up next, let's learn how to play the major scales. The G major scale is a good place to start. Play the open G string, then place your index finger for the A note, leaving a space before you place the A note. Then, right next to it, use your middle finger for your B without space now. The ring finger for the C, now with a space. Then your pinky finger for the D note with a space. Practice this scale to develop your finger strength and accuracy. Ensure that the pressure you apply is even to avoid having a distorted sound or having multiple notes being played. Also, avoid contact with strings that are not being played. To avoid contact with adjacent strings, just place the finger vertically on the string. The violin should produce a clear, steady sound for both upward and downward bowing. Practice this on each string. With this, you get familiar with the bow movement and the sound of each string. You can repeat this process starting with any of the open strings. For instance, move to the D string and play the open string, trying the following finger arrangements. Place your index finger for E, middle finger for F sharp, ring finger for G, pinky for the A note, and repeat for any other open string. Initially, transitioning between notes and strings may seem challenging, but it will get smoother with time. It's all about study and practice. So come up with a regular practice schedule and stick to it. Now let's try playing a song. With what you've learned so far, you should be able to play the common birthday song. Happy birthday to you on the violin. The song is typically played in the key of G major, using the G, D, and A strings. Begin with the open D string for the first note, then move to the third finger on the D string for the second note, G. Happy birthday to you, bowing down. Continue by playing the open D string again, bowing up, followed by the open A string for the next note. Use your first finger on the A string to play B, then the third finger on the A string for D, and return to the open A string. With this, we can repeat similar patterns for the subsequent lines, adjusting finger placements as necessary to match the melody. Practice each section slowly to ensure accuracy before playing the entire piece smoothly. Finally, before calling it a day on this episode, there are a few common mistakes that beginners often battle with when playing the violin. One common mistake is improper finger placement, which can result in out-of-tune notes. Make sure your fingers are placed correctly on the fingerboard. The neck of your fingers should not be in contact with the next string. Remember, the fingers should be as vertical as possible to avoid producing distorted sounds. Another issue is the bowing technique. Learn to stick to the bowing technique mentioned earlier. Keep the bow straight and apply even pressure to produce a clean sound. This seems like a perfect spot to call it a day. Do you have questions or clarifications? Put them in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.